Welcome to Cranky Live Sports Talk, where passion meets action.
Hey sports fans, I am Cranky, and this is the Cranky Live Sports Talk, the podcast where we dive deep into the hottest topics, the biggest games, and the most controversial moments in sports.
Whether it's football, basketball, track and field, cricket, or soccer, we've got you covered with expert analysis, insider interviews, and unfiltered opinions.
Join me as I chat with the biggest names in sports, get exclusive insights and stories you won't hear anywhere else.
Cranky Live Sports Talk is where you can hear the real talk, the hard-hitting questions, and the hottest takes.
So, if you're a true sports fanatic, you don't want to miss out? Subscribe now to the Cranky Live Sports Talk on YouTube and hit that bell icon to never miss an episode.
Cranky Live Sports Talk, where sports come alive. Subscribe today.
Bless up, bless up, bless up, bless up. I think this thing's a little bit louder now. Good evening, good evening, good evening. What time is it? It is that time for the Cranky Live Sports Show. Thanks for joining me. Thanks for being here. We'll have some fun today. It's been a very, very long day. Good evening, Float Management. Thanks for joining. Ricardo Baggio. Hey, Ricardo, are you named after Roberto Baggio from Italy? Brilliant footballer who missed that penalty in the 1994 World Cup. I think it was against Brazil, and Italy lost. But good evening, thanks for being here. We're going to talk some EPL. And I'm sure the conversation will go in directions that sometimes I have no control over because you control that. But I want to talk about a few things. One is that I'm starting the sequence in terms of having more structured programs. And this is based on advice I've gotten from my audience. One is to talk about on Mondays, EPL. So we're starting this program. We're talking about the top six in the EPL. Not the big six, because the big six includes Man U and Tottenham. There's the historical big six. We're talking about the top six, which now includes Nottingham Forest and Newcastle, along with the other four that are there, or normally big six. We're going to talk about tomorrow. See, Baggio said yes, he was named after Baggio from Italy. Tomorrow we're going to have an interview with Avery Campbell, who's the new marketing manager for the JFF. I think that should be a good conversation. You should join for that. It should be really good. Good evening, Jason. Thanks for joining. So she became the marketing manager on January 8th. So tomorrow, 7 p.m., same time, same place. We're going to have a conversation with her about, what her role entails, what she's going to be doing, how she's going to be doing it, things of that nature. Then Wednesday, I'll be doing a watch-along of the Tottenham-Arsenal game, which should be very, very interesting, given that Arsenal is coming off the back of two losses in the League Cup and the FA Cup. And then, interestingly enough, we're playing an arch rival, and we have no Jesus in the team because it looks like he has a really bad injury. Haven't got the full extent yet. Kai Havertz can't hit the side of a barn. So it should be interesting in terms of who we play at center forward. If we play Havertz still and what we do. Because Trossard's not playing well. So, yeah. Well, 876 will probably still... We'll find that out, actually. We'll probably still do marketing, but they have an in-house manager, which is a little bit different, right? I could employ a marketing team to help me do my business, but internally I want to have somebody who is involved in that process, oversee them, involving strategy, direction, vision, things of that nature. So I would assume that the role that the marketing manager is playing, she'll articulate that tomorrow. I don't have all that insight. I know she was on TVJ more recently, actually. And I know I was going to get this comment. I'm not even putting up Ricardo Baggio comment. I know I was going to get that comment because Jamaican men can't help themselves. That's the first thing they look at. She's in marketing, Ricardo. Boy, I'm going to tell you a star. The reputation is well earned. The reputation for Jamaican men is well earned. Well earned. It was on, no, Sportsmax, sorry, not TVJ, Sportsmax. You're right. You're Sportsmax. But I didn't watch the interview, so I'll probably watch it before the program to make sure even though I'm prepared, I'm fully prepared. And then Thursday, so that's Wednesday. And Wednesday, I'm also doing a Balanced View show. The show is going to be on, you know that our illustrious president, who does nothing wrong in the United States of America, by the name of, what's his name? Sir Donald. Everybody's kissing, you know what, nowadays, for whatever reason, because he's the president and everybody who was anti him are now pro him. Well, he has made a comment that China should get out of Jamaica. So I'm going to do a show on that this Wednesday, actually. You should join. It should be a really good show. I'm excited about it. And having said that, I'm going to drop the link for my Balanced View channel because I'm not doing it on this channel. I'm going to start doing Balanced View shows on the Balanced View channel. But I'm dropping both links, actually. But I'm not going to be doing Balanced View shows on this channel. So you should join me for that show. It should be really good. He's been knighted. Yeah. He's been more than knighted. He's now Empire. He's like, well, I was going to say that Napoleon, but Napoleon was short. Now he's an empire. He's an empire like somebody from the Ottoman Empire or the Roman Empire or, you know, the English Empire. He's from one of those empires because he's like a king. They all bow down to him and march to him. So we'll see what happens. But I'm going to do a show on that. It should be a good one, actually. There's some parallels between history and now talk about. And then Thursday, it should be a really good show on Thursday. We had one last week. I don't know if last week was good, but there was interest. So this week, Thursday, is what I'm going to call JFF Thursday. We're doing another JFF show, and it's longer than the last one. It was 4 hours. So it's not, Paul, it's not really beating. Some beating are involved, but I'm doing JFF Thursday. Let me just say this, people. I want to be balanced because we can't just come here and just beat people and don't give credit when credit is due, right? But some good beating going to be in there. Some really good beating, but it's JFF Thursday, so I'm going to be balanced. They're going to get credit for what they've done well, and obviously we have to talk about what them don't do well. In cranky style, it ain't going to be pretty. So Thursday is going to be JFF Thursday. And then Friday, if I survive the previous 4 days, I'm going to do another Balanced View show on the comparison, but I'm not going to talk about it now. It's a good one too. That I spent some time researching about a month ago, and then I put it on the back burner, but I'm gonna do it. But the shows are always gonna have some Caribbean or Jamaican implications to them. At least the more recent ones I'm gonna be doing. Right. Good evening, Prestine, Paul, Watkins. Good evening. Thanks for joining, and everybody's in the chat because I know some people in the chat are very silent, but they're there, and join me on a regular basis, but don't necessarily comment or text. So thanks for being here. And you know what you need to do as you come into the chat. Just hit the button. So today is Top 6 Monday. And we're going to start out with the top 6 teams in order of where their standings is. So Ricardo says, hey, Cranky, how come you allow the Maverick and Sir P first you with the jacket show and Jamaican woman? Yeah. No. I think people are reacting to the more recent thing going around on TikTok that talk about 70% of the kids in Jamaica are jacket. Here's my thing on that. I don't rush to market with information, Ricardo. I try to come correct. So I'm not going to rush to market and talk about something without doing the research and make sure when I do the show, it's educational. It's not just to get likes and viewership because people run to market with stuff just to get viewership and like. I want to educate, inform, and try to inform people of things that may not have thought about or things they may not know. That's how I think about it. So sometimes there are news I could just run to market with, but then I'm like, and maybe that's the way I've been trained, is like, it seemed like I'm doing a disservice by not putting in some work in it. So the whole jacket thing has been going around for a while. It's very popular. The YouTube thing that came out the other day about Nigerian women and also about Jamaican women, it's been out there for a while. It's on the list to be done, but it's a little bit different. There are two components to that. There is the whole thing about paternity, and then there's the family, right? My job, I view these things as a job, is to not only educate and inform, but enlighten, because the problem I see is we have a problem in our household. We have a problem with how we operate. See, yesterday I mentioned how many football players have, how many kids, how many moms. We have to understand as a society, we are falling, wherever we are, we're just going the opposite direction we need to be. Even though we're making progress as a people, we're still regressing as a people. So that's part of the challenge. Right? That's part of the challenge. So I don't want to rush the market. And I see what other people are doing, and they can rush to it. But when I come with something, Paul, tell me if it's substantive. Any pictures on the Thursday show? Here's what I found out, people. It's really interesting. I always try to have pictures. That's part of the problem I run into, So I contacted Reuters, because if I'm doing this, people got to do it right? I'm trying to get archive pictures or archive videos to do my shows, because I don't want to copyright with YouTube. I'm going to tell you, people, you have to help me. I tell you the truth. Because I could do it, but I'm just like, my audience, if they want information, they got to help me. It's expensive, people. I tell you the truth. I see a little video from about 20 years ago, they want, I'm going to exaggerate, it's $105 for the video, and I only need about 30 seconds of the video, right? So if I'm going to buy 5 videos and each video is $100 and something, and that's just the ones I saw there. And I saw some subscription service where it's even like, it's $500 a month. It depends on what you do to get certain videos, and certain videos you can't get. Because you want to make sure when you're doing these things, you're really being professional. And I'm a one-man person. Right? Hey, Vinci, maybe you can help me. I mean, I used to be in photography, Vinci. I think when we met up in Anthony Roberts. Good night, Vinci. Because I know you used to do this, Vinci, when you and I met up in Paris way back when. I know you do them sort of things. So you can help me. I'm trying to get videos and photos which I can use on YouTube, but I'm not having copyright infringement. That's the challenge. And people like to jump around with this fair use thing. Fair use works and it doesn't work. If you do read up on fair use, it's good to do something which may be commonly assumed and people may do it, but you could run into problems. And then the laws in the US are not the same as laws overseas like in Europe. So it's a little bit convoluted. How many two-man person do I know? No, I'm a one-man person, meaning Jason Gunas, let me educate you. I'm not a team. That's what I meant. But I know it's hard for you to decipher those things, Jason Gunas. So I understand you're struggling. So I don't have a team with me. That's what I meant, Jason Gunas. But the people in the chat understand it, but you don't. I understand, Jason. Our football guru, I should call you. Hey, Jason, don't stop me from the Jason. So we love good on the spot. Bless up, Nitro, bless up. Yeah. Vinci, we'll talk about some Arsenal. Wednesday, Vinci. Arsenal. I'm gonna do the top 6 people. And I know I want to do this introduction first and talk, because I want to, when I get into it, I want to be structured, so I don't get chastised for not keeping things in the right direction. Not the football guru. I love the ribbon in the football, Jason Guna, because I love to give it. I love ribbon because I love to give it. I have this challenge with my nephew all the time. He's always trying to dig at me, and he loses 100% of the time, I can tell you, or maybe 99.9%. He'd come with a good doozy, but I always have a comeback, because I believe in being the comeback kid. So, but Vinci, maybe we should talk offline, Vinci. I know you used to be in photography, and I'm trying to get how I can source these videos without paying some exorbitant price for them. Because my viewership, they ain't dropping they drop super chat like when I bond time, when they not drop no super chat, not drop no super chat otherwise. So, but I have to try to get some of these videos. I don't like to do shows, and it may seem contrary to what I'm saying now, but I think the shows are more interesting when you have pictures, when you have videos, much more. Because I see a lot of people do reaction videos. My nephew chastised me every time, like, Uncle, why are you doing all these live? Why do reaction videos? But I talk to people and they're like, we love the live. We like to comment. We like to be involved in the process. So I vacillate about what direction I should go in. So Vincent says, video will always be expensive. Photos cheaper. Yeah. You can play with the photos too, but the videos, hard. Paul said there was an article out there saying women don't like men that's too nice. That is a 6-point float. So people I'm going to talk football, but we're going to stay in this direction first before I go into the football. So I think there's a lot of discussion about women like bad boy men or whatever. Seems like a contradiction there. Bad boy men. Women like, they want excitement, right? And they complain about not being able to find a partner, and at the same time, the ones who are nice, they don't want to engage with them. So it's an interesting one, but that's more of a balanced view discussion, not a sports discussion. So let me go into the sports, but we'll talk about some of those things. Let me talk some football. So let's go with the top 6. And then end of the program, we'll talk about other things you guys want to talk about. So in terms of Liverpool, who are now leading the league by 6 points with a game in hand, and they're playing Everton, so I'm going to call it 9 points, even though it's a derby game. They're unbeaten in their last 5 matches, which is interesting because the last game, unbeaten in the Premier League, I should say. You got to be careful, right? Because they did lose to Spurs the last time out. Thought Spurs played well. And Liverpool have been lucky in the view that they, Salah has been off the chart in terms of how he's playing. Like, he's been, he has 18 goals and 13 assists. And I hear some people from my Arsenal talking about Saka and how great Saka has been. Saka is a good player, but he ain't. Saka is no Salah. Right? Oh, Lord have mercy. Claudine, come. I'm not going to get distracted. I'm going to stay on the path, and then we can come back to Claudine in her comment. Because she's going to chastise men because they may have some idea about women. But anyway. So, Liverpool, who have only lost 1 game in the Premier League, did lose 1 game in the League Cup, but are still in the League Cup. If they beat Spurs at home by more than a goal, they would be and not allow one to score. They'd be going to the final to play Newcastle because there's no way I see Arsenal coming back because we don't win at Newcastle. But Arsenal and Newcastle are going to play in February. So will Spurs and Liverpool. Liverpool doing really well, 46 points, as you can see there. Having fun of their lives. They have not lost in the last 5 games. Win 3, draw 2. Last game out, they drew with Man U, who people are talking about they're going to get a run-up score and get 10. Man U showed, as they showed Arsenal. And the Arsenal fans are in meltdown this week, today, given what transpired yesterday, that, if you have a team with a good coach and you're well-structured, things can go well for you. So they haven't beaten their last 5s. As I mentioned before, Salah is their main player in the last year of his contract. So let's hope he leaves and goes to Saudi League and give us a break because he's dominating. He seemed to be inferring that, but we don't know. But 31 goal contributions in 19 games is ridiculous. He almost like he wants to do 2 for 1. He scored 18 goals, so almost a goal a game, and 13 assists. Incredible numbers. Incredible numbers. In terms of injuries, the only injury I can think about for them is Joe Gomez, who pulled up. I know Kwanzaa pulled up the other day, but he was mainly sick. But Joe Gomez, the only one. So if you're leading the league, you are covered in almost every single area. You have 5 offensive players who can do any and everything. Very versatile. They're playing Diaz at center forward now because Nunes not producing and Jota is injury prone. You have Gakpo coming on, playing really well too and scoring from the left. Saka does his thing. You have Gravenberg and McAllister in the middle, and Szoboszlai may be playing. And you have very good defense, 3 of whom play on your championship team. The only weak spot you have defensively is your right back. And you really don't have any really weak spot offensively. I don't see how you lose unless you have some major, unless Salah goes down, frankly. And even then, with Nunes and Jota and Gakpo and Diaz, you have a good team. So I find it hard to see how you lose the league unless you just choke, frankly. And they're playing Nottingham Forest this week, so we'll see what happens there. All right? And Arne Slot came in. Everybody thought that Klopp was going to be significantly missed and they would struggle. And what he has done brilliantly is not change the team holistically in terms of style of play, more attacking, or in terms of personnel, right? It's basically playing a very similar team like they had before, not changing the material, tinkering with things here and there. So we'll see what happens going forward. I mean, they did lose to Nottingham Forest. They did lose to Spurs. And Slot mentioned, which I heard on somebody's program today, they were talking about, he mentioned that the teams that beat them both play the same way, which I guess is more mid-block counterattacking. And I heard somebody saying, well, he shouldn't have talked about that. Maybe he's trying to tell people that you can't beat us if you play football. So you should play football. Yeah, Forest did beat them at Anfield, but they also, Forest played that mid-block, low block, right? And Forest is a good team, especially defensively. I think Forest has only given up 19 goals, which is tied for second best in the league. So it's a good thing. So to me, Liverpool, who's also leading, having lost a game in the Champions League, are in a great place and would continue to do really well, actually. It's hard for me to see them losing the league. We're halfway through the league almost. They play one game less. If you're 9 points, nobody's, I think, ever lost apart from maybe Newcastle from this point, actually, with that kind of lead. And if they go 9 points clear, and the thing is that people don't realize is that for them to lose the league, if they lose 3 games, that means the team behind them have to win all their games, which is hard to do. And the only team that I see is hot right now, like fire, and we get to them, is Newcastle. Now, in terms of Arsenal, Arsenal is unbeaten in the last 5 Premier League games, right? 3 wins, 2 draws. Last time out, draw to Brighton, which is interesting with that famous Saliba headbutt with Yao. What was it? Yao Felix? I'm confusing Yao Felix at Chelsea, but whatever his name is, the Brazilian. And we have been in an interesting place because Arsenal, even though they are unbeaten in the league, lost to Newcastle in the League Cup, lost to Man U yesterday on penalty kick. So an interesting place. Gabriel Jesus, one of the key players, scored 6 goals in the last 6 games, is out injured and looks like it's a long-term injury. May not be coming back till next year. Havertz, who has scored 7 goals this season, is really not doing it. Frankly, from an injury standpoint, Arsenal have a lot of injuries. So Liverpool only have Gomez. Arsenal have Ben White out, Tomiyasu, long-term injury. Jesus now going to be long-term injury. Nwaneri is out for next week and a half. Jesus, long-term injury. Timber got injured yesterday, may not play tomorrow. Calafiori is always injured. And then Kai Havertz is a permanent injury. I'm joking. Kai Havertz is just, and I've been saying this from we bought him and people give me a hard time, he's not the guy. And Odegaard is playing like he's still sick. So Arsenal have a lot of personal problem. I don't know who we play tomorrow. Now, I'll just say one good thing about yesterday. We're sorry Jesus get hurt, but at least Sterling got a run and he looked decent. Right? Yeah, it's hospital football, Vincey. At least Sterling got a run and he looked decent. So, and he's the only player I see in Arsenal, even including Saka, frankly, who's taking on people. He made some mistake yesterday in trying to take people on. I don't think he set them up enough. But he's putting pressure on the defense to do something, especially when you're playing low block. He's going at you. Make a decision. You may put out a foot and trip somebody. Right? Yeah, Timber has been injury prone, Vincey. And look, we can talk about Mikel Arteta. Will he buy somebody in January? I don't know how you come in the team. You got rid of Lacazette and Aubameyang, and you don't replace any of your strikers. You haven't bought a striker. You bought Jesus, but at City, he was a utility player up front. Right wing, left wing, forward. That's why they went on and bought Haaland. So I don't know. But Arnar says Sterling has lost place by Nitro. But no, I thought Sterling was good yesterday. Good in spurts yesterday. Now, you can tell he hasn't played a lot of football, right? The reason why I thought Sterling should be playing is that when Chelsea played, I think it was Man City last year, or was it the year before? Get my years confused. And he played against Walker. He had Walker on skates. Nobody done put Walker on skates. Walker really get on skates. Now, people are saying he lost a step this year, but he didn't lose no step last year. Well, Sterling make him look like he lost step. So you need, and Martinelli, I know that Martinelli is making good money, but he plays like he's looking for change on the ground. Like, it's like he lost the money and he's trying to find it and he can't find it. So he's always struggling to make the right decision because, if you can't hold your head up to play football, I don't know how that works. Yeah, and as Vince is saying, Arteta doesn't do the best job of it brings injured people in. And look, he's probably relying on his medical staff to give him direction, but it has not been good. So Arsenal is in a tough spot. I don't think Arsenal can catch Liverpool. No way, you know what? The only thing I say about Arsenal is this. Our defense, which has been our bread and butter, because he's built from the defense, right? He hasn't bought a striker except Carl Havertz, who's bought as an 8. He's bought Calafiori, he's bought Timber, right? And more recently, he bought Ben White 3 years ago, whatever it was when he first came in. So he's bought a lot of good defenders. He's not buying the attacking players we need. And he bought Merino, who looks like he's a Merino with holes in it, because I like some of his ability, but we need a dynamic forward and a dynamic 8, and we don't have that. So anyway, so much for Arsenal. Let's go to Nottingham Forest. The surprise team of the season to me, by a good margin. Some people may say, well, Chelsea was really up there, but no, Nottingham Forest, I would bet somebody at the beginning of the season to tell me Nottingham Forest will be where they are. So Nino has done a good job. He got fired by Spurs, went overseas, come back. Must have improved himself. And by the way, before I go to that, people keep saying Arteta is inexperienced. Stop. I don't want to hear that nonsense. You coach 5 years in the Premier League, your experience. 5 years. You ain't win no trophy in 4.5 years. Stop with inexperienced nonsense. Nottingham Forest has, look here, people, it's all wins enough. 5 impressive wins. Right? Beat Wolves, beat Everton, beat Tottenham, beat Brentford, and beat Aston Villa. 5 impressive wins. I would say 3 of the 5 are impressive. I wouldn't call Everton an impressive win. And they're doing really, really well. And interestingly, they have players who have been rejected. In fact, all their frontline players have been rejected who are starting. So what are the key players? Chris Wood, a different team, end up at Newcastle. They bought Isak, they got rid of him. 12 goals this season. Gibbs White, sold by Wolves, a lot of money, 40 million. 4 goals, 3 assists. Anthony Langa, Man U sold him. 3 goals, 4 assists. Hudson-Odoi, who was injured as part of the season, 2 goals, 2 assists. So their forward line, who have all been, you could call them rejects, frankly, have all playing well. And their forward line take people on, unlike Arsenal's forward line. I'd say wingers. Well, our forward, Kai Havertz, can't beat himself. When I talk about Kai Havertz, I think about like Trent Alexander-Arnold, who can't defend himself. Kai Havertz can't beat himself. Slow as a, you know what. And their defense has been very, very good. They've only given up 19 goals this season, which is tied for second with Liverpool, 1 behind Arsenal. So very good defense, decent enough offense, because they have scored, 29 goals? Doing really, really well. And they have no major injuries. I was looking for even Ward. They have a good team. Look at Ward Prowse, who was at Southampton, went to West Ham, now there, can't get on the field. He was on the field when he got a double yellow card and got a red, but can't get back on the field. And I think the tactical approach that the manager has employed has been effective. He's first focused on his defense and counter-attacking offense, and it's been really good. Really, really good. Now, here's what's interesting. When we played Forest, they looked like a last place team. They didn't give us any competition. It was disappointing the way when we played them. Well, it wasn't disappointing for me because we won easily. But the way they have played this season, a little bit surprising. I think they came very defensive and they weren't as confident as they should be. And it showed. They didn't play well. So now we go to Chelsea, who started a little bit slow, was a house on fire, has slowed down. 2 draws and 2 losses in their last 5 games, which is not good. Only 1 win in their last 5 games. So they have dropped quite a bit of points, people. They have dropped 10 points in the last 5 games, which pushed them way, way back, right? Because they had 36 points. If they had them 10 points, they would probably be tied for Liverpool with 1 game in hand. So it's really interesting how that works. Now they have had and Jackson, who played well at the beginning of the season, has his form has dipped and his goals have sort of dried up. So Nitro says, funny how you killed Grimmy with RBS when we'll come to you, Nitro. We'll come to you. I'm not a Tottenham support. You gotta play what you have. But we'll come to you. Let me stay on this first so I can keep the structure, people, and then we can get to all the comments. Chelsea always seem to have injuries, right? Wesley Fofana can't keep healthy. I mean, left Leicester to go to Chelsea's been injured. Reece James, who's the captain, can't stay healthy. but it's just Shalir, whatever his name is, Badias Shili. I'm always destroying his name. Injured also. So they have I think their defense is their problem. I think in midfield, right? Now they have Fernandez in there playing against Caicedo. And Lavia is also injured, is always injured, frankly. Even though I think he's almost back now. So a lot of injuries there, at least in the middle of the park and in the defense. I think Gusto has been good. I think Caldwell has been good. So they have some decent players. And up front, I think they have dynamic wingers. Obviously, Mudryk has his suspension. But with Neto, with Sancho, who couldn't get to Man U team, but is starting for Chelsea. I don't understand how this thing work. Madueke. Then you have Felix can't even get into the kid they got from Atletico Madrid can't get into the team. So it's interesting how that's working, actually. They have a good team, but they're also a very young team. But I think they're going to be good for years, actually. They got to sort it out, though. They have too many good players, but they don't have those exceptional players. And I think when you get to a certain level, if you want to be like Liverpool, you have to have exceptional players in at least one in each of the component of your team. So one in midfield, one up front, and one in defense. Like Liverpool will have, I would say for Liverpool, they have exceptionally up front is Salah. Alisson in goal is exceptional. Van Dijk is exceptional. And in midfield, you could say McAllister, when you watch him play, he's a total player. And then they have the Gravenberg and all those people surrounding them. Diaz, Gravenberg, all those players surrounding them, right? You need some exceptional people who are guiding each of the component that informs your team. So Chelsea, still young, but we'll do well. I think they'll I picked them for top 4 this season. We'll see what happens. Because the next team behind them, when we talk about now, is like guns and fire. If they stay healthy, a lot of teams are in trouble. Newcastle United. We played them in the League Cup and they smacked us, actually. I mean, we had chances. I thought we could have scored in the first half. Martinelli got away and hit the upright. And I think Havertz also got a baby goal that you and I could score, which is normal for Havertz anyway nowadays. But they played really well. Isak has a slight injury, but he's been phenomenal, and he showed against us. He's probably the only forward I thought I've played against my 2 center halves who made him look ordinary, frankly. I think it's mainly given his movement, I should say. But he's in exceptional form and playing well and scoring. They have injuries. Callum Wilson, who's the backup striker, who was the first main striker at one point, is always injured. Jamal Lascelles has a bad injury. Nick Pope, their keeper, has a bad injury. Dubravka, who's their keeper, there was discussion about him going to the Middle East. We'll see how that materializes. But they have won. People, look at who they have beaten. They won 5 in a row, right? So they beat Leicester 4-0. They then beat Ipswich. They then beat Villa 3-0. They beat Man U 2-0. And they beat Tottenham 2-1. So they've beat 3 very good teams in the last 3 games. And I think they have won 8 on the spin because they beat us 2-0. I think they won, if you think about League Cup and FA Cup and all that, they won 8 on the spin. So they're doing really, really well. When they played us, Guimaraes didn't play, and yet we couldn't boss the midfield, and we have a good midfield. And if you look at their team, up front, they're better than us. The Gordon, Isak, Murphy, who I didn't rate at one point, but it was improved phenomenally, and keeping on Almiron and Harvey Barnes at the team, even though Harvey Barnes played most on the left. Been very good. In the middle of the park, Willock can't get into the team. He was a constant person in the starting level, but Tonali's now come up from his betting scandal, a betting situation, suspension. And then you have Joy Linton, who has been a converted midfielder playing really well, and Guimaraes has been excellent. So really good midfield. And in the defense, Shear is there, and they have other defense. They had the 2 kids players the other day, Hall and Livramento, and we couldn't. Well, Martinelli can't beat anybody, so I shouldn't use him as an example. But I'm sure if Sterling was playing, he'd probably go by Hall a couple of times, frankly, that game, right? And they have the Dutchman who has just come back. So a very set team, a very good team, and they're going to be hard. They're hard to beat. They're hard to play against. Physical, strong, tall. So set pieces for us won't work against them. That's why we struggle, because we're the set piece king. And Eddie Howe is doing a good job of managing his team. Now, his problem is about injuries, because I could see if Isak go down, no Wilson, they probably have to play Gordon up front, which may not work very well. May not work very well. But they have a really good team. And last but not least is Man City. Man City has won 2 of their last 5. An interesting team. They lost to Man U, actually. They lost to Villa. They drew with Everton. They beat up poor Leicester. And they beat up West Ham, who everybody's seems to be beating up nowadays. Even though West Ham have changed their manager and gone with the ex-Brighton and ex-Chelsea manager. So we'll see how that works out. But Man City is also looking to buy in January. They're talking about the kid from Egypt who was Frankfurt in Germany. So we see what happened there. I think they scored 14 goals in the last 3 games too, even though 8 was scored against a pub team. So that should be very, very interesting as we go through. Obviously, Man City have injuries, right? Rodri's out for the entire year. Ruben Diaz can't keep fit. He's out. John Stone, same thing. And Oscar Babu broke his leg a while back. Is out. And he was coming on, very young player, but good. The manager was under pressure. I think that pressure will go away. Pep Guardiola doesn't have pressure. I mean, he's not wing as he used to, but they ain't gonna fire him. So what is he worried about? He ain't worried about it. So that's my little bit soliloquy on the top 6 teams and where they are. I won't go into all the necessarily stats per se. What I will touch upon now is the fact that these teams now have games coming up this week. So let's go to the fixtures. Interesting fixtures this week. So first, or I say last but not least, but first we have on Tuesday, which is tomorrow, and first game is Man City against Brentford. So we'll see if Man City's form is temporary or is permanent, or they've recovered it. I wouldn't say permanent because they've been in the doghouse a little bit. So Man City will play against Brentford, good 2:30. Chelsea, Bournemouth, probably the best game of the day, even though people would probably say it's Nottingham Forest, Liverpool. That's a really good game. Bournemouth hasn't lost in, about 10? They have been doing really, really well. I keep telling people about a Spanish coach, All them Spanish coach, apart from Lepicasi, has done well. West Ham played Fulham, not a good game, and Fulham has been playing really, really well. And then we have Nottingham Forest, Liverpool, which, Nottingham Forest has won 5 in a row. Liverpool has only lost 1 game in the league this season. Good game. But I'll be going to struggle to watch between which game to watch. I'll be going back and forth between the Chelsea Bournemouth game and the Nottingham Forest Liverpool game. Then on Wednesday, we have Everton playing Aston Villa. David Moyes have taken over Everton. He left there in 2010 when Ferguson gave him the job at Man U. So we'll see how that works out. Should be an interesting game, him taking over. But they give it to Sam Dyche and hire a manager who's a similar style of play. I don't know. Interesting one, actually. Leicester play Crystal Palace. Who cares? Crystal Palace, interesting team. They just they acquired a player from the Championship for a lot of money. A winger who's dynamic, so we'll see how that works out. Newcastle against Wolves. Is Cunha still out? I know he got a 2-match suspension, so he probably is back now because they would have played didn't they play an FA Cup game and then can't recall actually. But he's a 2-match suspension. We've been looking at Cunha. I think I rate him actually. I think he's a good player. And then on Wednesday, you hear me on my big side, Arsenal plays Spurs. The way we are playing and the lack of firepower up front, and the fact that Spurs beat Liverpool the last time out, even though they have Archie Gray and the Romanian in the center of their defense, because I don't think Romario and the Dutchman is coming back. We'll see how that works out. But it should be interesting. But Cunha, if he plays against Newcastle, he'll help, but Newcastle just looks so strong. And Guimaraes will be back. They're so physical in the middle of the park. They're hard to play against. They're physical and athletic, which makes it difficult. And on Thursday, we have Ipswich, Brighton, and Man U playing Southampton. I'm sure Man U's on a high. And he didn't even start Diallo, his best player, against us. And I don't think he expected to win that game. And Man U played with 10 men for most of that game. And still we couldn't score in about, 60-something minutes Dalot gets sent off. So 30 minutes extra time. You know how bad you are not to score in 60 minutes against a 10-man team? And they probably got more chance than we did. They were trying to win the game. But anyway, let me stop here and take some of your comments. Bless up Owen. Thanks for joining. 1-1. Thanks for joining. Appreciate you being here. So I haven't heard anything about Ethan Pinnock's injury, actually. I didn't do any research on Ethan because I focused on the top 6, but Ethan is actually injury prone, and I think Jamaica should think about a replacement for Ethan in the national team, actually. Not that we're pushing him out because he's the best defender, but when you get seasoned, as I'll call it, you never know. Those injuries start piling up. Those bones are not like they used to be. So I think we have King, right? Who's now going to Rangers. I hear a lot of comments on that. I haven't looked at that. Is he going to Rangers? Hopefully, if you go to Rangers, you get game time. I'm a King fan, by the way. So if he goes to Rangers and get game time, that'd be good. I think King will fit into any team because he plays with a lot of composure and he makes a lot of good decisions and he's comfortable on the ball and he's a very smart kid. So yeah, bless up Rich Toy. I would be supportive of him if Pinnock can't play, replacing Pinnock in the team versus putting somebody else there. Because we need some composure in the back. With Damian Lowe and Bernard, to me, are the same. Probably brothers. Now, I saw Claude in the chat, and you guys were making some comments about women, because I know Claudine is very defensive of her sex. You know, when it comes to the female sex, Claudine is very, very defensive. You can't say anything. It's almost like the way Claudine operates is like, men, when it comes to women, don't open your mouth. Stop. Don't say a word. I find that interesting. But let's go back to the football. So Vince is saying Arteta doesn't allow players to recover. Yeah, we talked about that before. Arteta has a... I want to know from the chat, you think Arteta should be fired? Or if he doesn't win anything this year, you think he should be let go? I'm curious to hear what people's perspective is. I don't know, Boss Thomas. I haven't looked into that one, actually. But if he is, I don't think it has anything to do. Well, the players are not separated, so I'm not sure why they're playing that way. Maybe they're crying. Maybe they're in mourning for Pep. I don't know, but I hadn't heard that one either. Actually, I hadn't heard that one. But that's an interesting one. One says you have to assume you have injuries. Depth is important if you're happy with the starting players. No, I agree. One. The problem you have with depth is this, people, because a lot of you play football, right? People on the bench are going to be grouchy. Can you imagine Sterling? Well, first of all, Sterling should be getting more playing time over Trossard, frankly. A friend of mine and I were going through some stats today. Trossard has been horrible, people. His conversion rate is terrible. And I want to talk about that, actually, this whole thing about conversion rate. Now, the concept is that your conversion rate is your shot to how much you score. And I think that's a nonsense stat, actually. Because I don't know, where do you take the shot from? Was it 40-yard shot? Was it 20-yard shot? I think what's more important as a stat is big chances missed. To me, is a much better thing. I also want to talk about something that that came up. I was listening to a program today in Jamaica, some sports show, and somebody was calling in about the Maguire situation yesterday. Not the penalty, which wasn't really a penalty, frankly. I think Havertz dove. But more around, remember that ball that was passed? I think it may have been, was it by Odegaard? Hit Maguire, went to Martinelli, he scored, and they called it back for offside. So the person called into the program in Jamaica, they didn't have all the facts straight. Somebody is calling, multiple people calling about it. They didn't have their facts straight about what offside or not, and explaining why it would be offside, not offside. Then somebody is calling, chiding everyone and chiding them out for not sort of knowing the rules. And to me, he didn't know the rules. He didn't know the rule. So the rules for offside is this, and let me make sure I get my facts right, is you can't offside in your own half. You can't offside on a throw-in. You can't offside on a corner. I'm talking about the initial play. And you can't offside if somebody's playing the ball, whether passing or otherwise, the defender deliberately made a play on the ball, they touch the ball, and it goes to an offside position, you can't offside. The question yesterday was, when the ball was played, did Maguire deliberately play the ball, or did the ball just ricochet off him? Because if he played it and go to Martinelli, it's not offside, he can score. The announcers talked about it initially, and then they moved on. They didn't pontificate on it. They didn't elaborate on it. They just mentioned it, had that query, and then moved on. A lot of people think he played the ball, right? He tried to play the ball, hit his heel, go to Martinelli, he scored, and it should not have been offside. Some people say it wasn't deliberate, it was accidental. But if it was deliberate, then it can't be offside. If it's accidental, and he didn't mean to play the ball, he just hit him by chance, then it's not offside. Not offside. Vincent said, lost confidence with Arteta and this type of football. Yeah, I think you know what happened with Arteta? People, when you have a mentor and somebody teach you something, you learn, and then you take it and you go and deploy it someplace else, but you didn't make decision of your own volition in terms of how you want to do things, but you follow what their principles and the thought process and how they do it. And then all of a sudden you're on your own, and then you're like, uh-oh, what do I do now if things not going right? That's Arteta. And frankly, do Arteta do does you know what I must say, Vinci? Maguire's improved. People beat Maguire. I've always said Maguire can play football. I think he got raw deal sometimes. Arsenal can't fire a young second-place coach who doesn't have his best player due to injury. It'd be sad for them to go coaching. No, that's not the point. That's not the point, football guru. You're in football to win things. Even when you had Saka, he ain't winning nothing. And the concern for people is this. If you're Odegaard, if you're Saliba, if you're Gabriel, if you're Saka, right? If you're Raya, for example, are you just playing football for the money, or you want to win things? You can see all the, Jesus has won things. Zinchenko has won things. They're going to keep on playing. And here's the problem we have, football gurus, you're not thinking about. We're getting out, we haven't been to any finals since the FA Cup final when he first joined us. So he's had a chance to win about between 16 and 19 trophies. He hasn't come close to winning any of them. This is the closest we have come in the League Cup semi-final. If he was at Abramovich, Chelsea, he'd have been fired a long time ago. He wouldn't even been close. So you were a top 4 team. I mean, Ten Hag won 2 trophies and got fired, even though his struck squad not close to Arsenal squad in terms of valuation. But I don't think the Crankies are different people. They're not firing him. And the reason why is this, because they're focused on what value has he brought to the club. It's not just about winning for the Crankies who are American owners. That's what some of them think. Are you increasing the club's value, commercial revenues, fan base, all that? And he's doing all that. Are you providing that view, the brand of the club? Are you helping the brand to grow? Do you have that profile, which suggests you're an Arsenal person, and it's an executive presence? He has all of that. So I don't see them firing him. But I would say this, that if he don't keep on winning, the fans gonna fire him. It ain't gonna be the Arsenal board or whatever. The Crankies, the fans gonna fire him. One says Maguire's not improved as a player, but his performance have because the system gives him more protection in front and more protection inside. Yeah, no, I thought he was good yesterday, because what he does really well is, those balls you playing and you have to head out and block. He's doing that really well. And we are not penetrative as a team. First of all, apart from Califury, I can't remember scoring a goal from outside the box this year. I'm trying to go back and think about it. We don't take shots and test keeper from 25, 30 yards. It's all we play the ball up to the 6-yard line. And when we play the 6-yard line, Havertz kick the ball outside. Like yesterday, people. Not a lot of you play football. I don't think any of you, well, some of you may, but I don't know how you missed that chance on his good foot, because his right foot not good. His left foot, the ball is there. He moved it and he kicked the ball and sliced it outside. That's hard to do. You have to practice to slice it. Right? I'm not talking about missing penalty. People can miss penalty. Odegaard missed the penalty. I hear people saying Havertz took the penalty. No, he didn't. Odegaard took the penalty. But Havertz missed the penalty in extra time. And I didn't watch I didn't watch a penalty shootout, because I was 100% convinced we were going to lose the penalty shootout. When I looked at the team, I didn't see penalty takers. I saw Odegaard, but I didn't know it was. I know Sterling doesn't take penalty. He didn't for England at the Euros when Italy beat them. So I know he ain't taking a penalty. I couldn't see any defenders taking penalty. I was surprised Partey took one. So I wasn't. I didn't go to Trossard. I think, you know what, good penalty taker if he took one. But I didn't think we'd win. So I went to the store to buy something. I just didn't I'm not watching this, because there's no way we're winning this. Based on the run of play and all that, I said we're not going to win. Rich Toy said, if you want to win trophies, you have to be at Liverpool or City or Liverpool. Arsenal have always been interested in qualifying Champions League. Well, that was history. I think they're trying to win, but he hasn't done a good job of winning. People, is bad. You think about it. He spent £700 million, net spend of £500 million, and we ain't got no trophy to show for it. All we have is some Champions League participation and some good thing that we have good players, and we ain't got no show for it. And I think part of the problem is, look, he can't score penalties. He can't score those headers that Rice missed, or headers that Havertz missed, or a 6-yard shot that Havertz missed. What he can do, though, is pick the good team. What he can do is manage game during games. What he can do is show some ingenuity in terms of style of play by saying, you know what, this rotating the ball from left to right and sideways not working. Let's pull the team in and do it more direct. Let's sucker them in and do it more direct. Nothing creative. Same old, same old. Football goes to Chelsea and Man U have been right in years. Well, yeah, that's true. Man U went, well, you know what? Even the football guru, here how bad this is. Man U has won 2 trophies. So Man U fans have celebrated twice in the last 2 years. Yes, they haven't celebrated Champions League or Premier League, but they celebrated something. We ain't celebrate nothing except making top 4. That's not a trophy. Trophies are legacies, right? That's how Pep make his legacy. If Pep was finishing top 4, he wouldn't have the leverage he does in terms of compensation or where he can coach. Pep is where he is because he wins trophies. 3 trophies at Bayern, trophies at Barcelona, but 6 Premier League titles. He's win trophies. And 1 Champions League. So yeah. Oh Lord, here the Man U fan come to gloat. Good night.
Can I get an honorable mention for being a top 16, but traditionally?
No, we're talking about not big 6, top 6. You're a top. Where are you in the league? Where? What's your standing? Where are you in the tables? Where are you in the tables?
Honestly,
You are. Wait. No, don't go anywhere. You are 13th, and you want mention? You have no ambition.
Honorable, like.
Wait. For what? You lost 3 of the last 5 games. You only won 1 of the last 5 games. What are you supposed to get honor mention for?
Effort, character, fight.
Effort, character, fight. What? This is boxing.
But listen, we beat City. We drew to Liverpool, and we beat Arsenal, right? And honestly, currently, as a United fan, I'm not impressed. I'm not fooled by these players. I'm not fooled by the Garnachos of the world and the Maguires. Because when I look at games like Nottingham Forest, Bournemouth, Wolves, we all drop points to these teams, and I didn't see 1 ounce of fight or effort or character from these players when they played against those smaller oppositions. And looking at Arsenal playing with 10 men, right, for extended period of time and still getting a result. I mean, I have to question these players. So the game against Southampton coming up and the game against Brighton, these are 2 home games. And I expect, after the performances at Liverpool and at the Emirates, I expect that United, these players go out there and get maximum 6 points from those 2 games because they're going to be 2 home games. You know what I'm saying? So for me, it's the second half of the season. Sometimes teams start bad and they pick up in the second half of the season. I think his message is getting across to some of these players. He has made some tough calls in terms of he dropped Garnacho in the past. Rashford looks like he's out of the door, whether it's on loan or permanent. I heard that United is linked with this winger from Salzburg. I'm not familiar with him. Saw 2 clips, but I didn't really watch the clips as yet. But I mean, hopefully United can have a better run in the second half of the season and finish somewhere in the top 10. You know what I'm saying? Which I think the ability is there to do it. It's just that they need to be consistent in terms of their performances,
Yeah, no, look, I mean, I think you should take encouragement from the last 2 games. You went to Anfield and got a draw, could have won that game, right? And then you came to us, didn't do much for most of the game, but did enough to win and looked dangerous every time you came forward because we were just playing around and not trying to be penetrative. So you should be proud of what your team has done. And you have a new manager who is trying to find out who can play his system, who can find out who's going to be up for the fight. And your captain is playing like a captain. 2 weeks in a row, he was the best player at Liverpool on the field. And yesterday he scored a very good goal against us. So you should take encouragement from some of the positives and not think about any of the negatives.
I mean, there's one game I did take encouragement from, and it was actually against you guys in the Premier League when we played you guys at the Emirates. Despite losing that game, I think I saw a bit more control from United and taking responsibility with the football. However, the manager did say that we didn't do enough in terms of going forward and creating chances. But in terms of the overall construction of how we played against you guys, I did take a lot of positives from that because you need to know how to take control of the football and treat it like your wife.
You're suggesting that everyone treat their wives a certain way, but anyway, keep going.
But I'm suggesting that everyone should treat their wives good, so we need to take care of the football just like how a man would treat their wife good.
And I'm sure you're not married, so I don't know what you know about wife and take care of.
Just observe it. But I mean, listen, people can banter United all they want, cranky. I still think there's some positives from this United team, right? Whenever they want to turn that switch on. But again, it just comes down to consistency. And I think that what Amorim has to do, and no manager has done it. I think Ten Hag did it. He's the only manager that got to like he brought in a lot of players, right? But I don't think he moved on some players that I feel like they should have been moved on, right? Like the Harry Maguires of the world. You know, there's just some players in a club where, as a manager, when you come into the club, you have to get rid of them because they failed with previous managers before. And obviously, you'll have like one or two players in which the manager will like, and he'll keep them. But there's some players in this United team that despite one or two good games, they have to leave at the end of the season. For me, Anthony's one, Maguire is one.
No, but stop you right there. Sorry to interrupt you, but Maguire signed an extension. He's not going anywhere.
Well, yeah. Well, to be fair, you know what? To be fair, I wouldn't let go Maguire. Other than the extension, I think in terms of him being like a backup player, I think he has done well so far, right? And let me be honest, people. Let me be honest. Maguire has always been a good defender. Even his first season at United, it was solid. I just think that the captaincy and the media, I think that got to Harry Maguire, but he was always a good defender to some sort, right? But obviously, when you play for a club like United, you have to be focused in terms of to get your performances right on the pitch, right? So, but there are quite a few players that should believe in, and quite a few that we hopefully we can bring in this summer.
Yeah, no, look, I think the problem that you have is money, right? You pay so much in wages. PSR seems to be a problem. You have to sell to buy. That's why they talk about selling Menu will be 100% profit, right? You don't want to sell a player who you take off the books, but you don't free up enough money to go acquire something else. So you may have to sell Menu. You would try to probably sell to Rashford, but nobody's going to pay Rashford wages. And Rashford's not going to take a pay cut. $350 a week? How much years he left on his contract? About 3? You can't get rid of him. You can't get rid of him. And if you just sell over, if you put him to go to Milan or somebody overseas, unless you go to Saudi Arabia, then they probably pay 100,000 if they're lucky. Out of that 350, you still got to pay 250, like you're doing for Sancho. The problem that you have is you give players exorbitant contracts, and then you can't get rid of them because they lose form, and you end up holding the bag on that. So between Sancho and Rashford, you're probably paying $500,000 a week, and they're not playing for you.
I think that's where United has to fix that. They have a problem there to fix, because if you look at, like, let's say Chelsea, Liverpool, and Manchester City, you actually have to earn your wages in a country by performing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Salah is not too long ago. Salah got that big contract, and he's nearing at the end of this current contract. If you're supposed to renew him, then it's relatively the same money, maybe plus more, but less years, right? And maybe Salah wants more, depending on if he feels that he still has a lot to give. But when you look at these teams, the players actually have to earn the contract. Even Chelsea, not much players on Chelsea earning big wages. Big wages, yes, but not astronomical wages like United. United will just buy a player and, here's 250,000. Like, come on, it doesn't work like that. And trust me, Cranky, if a lot of these players went to different clubs, they would not be on such high wages because they have to earn the wages that they're on. And that's by performing and winning trophies as well. So we have a problem to fix in that era. But when Eric Ten Hag was there, I think he was saying something within the lines of they need to, when they sign players going forward, they need to kind of lower the wages that they're on or that they're given, right? So
yeah. So if you think about it, people, this is amazing. Just thinking about this. So Rashford is about 350. Sancho is similar number. Your CDM that you got from Real Madrid is about 300. That's about £1 million a week. That's not playing. Casemiro. That's amazing, people.
Yeah, I didn't remember it was.
You could have a whole team. I'm sure Wolves' team is probably the same for those 3 players, and they're not playing. $1 million a week, or somewhere close to that. £1 million, which dollars? Probably a 1.1 or 1.2 million dollars. Probably 1.2 million a week. People, you're paying out. That's why your PSR problems are magnified. Right now, Sancho probably reduced that to 250 versus 300 because Chelsea paid about 100, and Rashford may do the same. But your PSR, you're gonna be on a PSR for a while. You have great commercial revenues, but your spending is atrocious. So that's why you're struggling.
Yeah, and that's why Sir Jim Ratcliffe is trying to cut costs as well. Listen, I don't see football as a charity thing, Cranky. It's still a business at the end of the day. I know that many people oftentimes come and say, "Oh, like, why is he cutting costs?" Whatever the case is. At first, I was kind of upset, but then again, I'm saying, it's a business, and if you have areas in which you can cut costs, then I just have to do that. You know what I'm saying? So
right.
You still have to make a profit. These individuals, they invested big money into the club, so they have to make it, but they're talking about building a new stadium, all these different types of things. It requires money and all these things that I'm not so good at in terms of like the big finances like that. You are better to keep to talk about that. But my last point, Cranky, Arsenal Football Club, right? Mikel Arteta, as I said, last night in my closing points, 3 sackable offenses could be United winning a trophy, Newcastle, Spurs, or Liverpool, right? But other than that, I think when I look at the Cranky group, right? You look at the Rams, for example, the Nuggets, and I think they have this hockey team as well. In the past 5 or so years, they've won a championship. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And they've went out. I wouldn't say they've went out big because they've built a team. I know that the Nuggets did build a team, right? But it seems to me that they show a bit more interest in those teams compared to Arsenal to an extent. Because there's no way that Arsenal should not be signing a player right now. At the start of January, we should be seeing reports, or Arsenal fans should be seeing reports of this player is almost close to completing a deal. I'm looking at Man City. I'm looking at United and these respective clubs. Even Chelsea today is in discussions with Bayern Munich in terms of swapping Nkunku for Tel. You know what I'm saying? So these clubs are looking at players that they need to improve in, and they're going out there as fast as possible, trying to get a deal over the line to help the team for the rest of the season. And so far with Arsenal, I think the Isak and Goicoris, it's a bit unrealistic in January, but there has to be somebody out there that you bring in.
Isak is about, if Newcastle going to want to 150 for Isak. An injury, I love Isak,
but 150.
But I'm saying they're going to want about 150.
Oh.
They're not, because they don't want to sell him, and they don't have to sell him. But they're up against PSR too. They're struggling with PSR because they're the richest owners in the Premier League, but it doesn't really matter. Your club has to be self-sustainable. That's all PSR is. You got to be able to make the money. That's why Man United is in a good place, or was in a good place, because they spend so much on salaries, it put them back. People like Maguire and big wages probably get less wages time around. You got a lot of players on big wages, people. That's part of their problem. Arsenal too has gotten there. They had a young team, but when they renewed Saliba contract, Saka contract, Odegaard's contract, Martinelli's contract, they all got big money. And then now you have Havertz making like 285, whatever the number is. They got big money. Partey 200. They haven't given him a contract yet, even though they should. So the teams in the top, Arsenal, Man U, Man City, big money. Other teams, decent money, but those 3 teams paying a lot actually.
I have 2 questions before I leave. The first question: who's the best player in the world right now in world football? Who's the best player?
Wow, brilliant question. At this point, I'd probably say Salah.
Salah?
Yeah. Because it used to be Mbappe, but he's been a miss at Real Madrid today.
What about
I'd say Salah.
I was reading something today that he has 30 goal contributions so far.
Rafinha has been brilliant for Barca. He was brilliant when they played against Real Madrid yesterday. He played really well. I think he has scored an assist, and he's been playing really well. I know what happened to him because at Leeds he played on the right wing. Now he's playing on the left because Lamela is playing on the right. He's been brilliant, but I think Salah is.
I think funny enough, Arsenal wanted Rafinha at one point as well.
What's football are we talking about Haaland? What are you talking?
I think Rafinha was wanted by Arsenal a couple years ago. But the second question is, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, the second question is Wednesday Arsenal versus Spurs, right? If Arsenal goes on to lose that game, what's your feeling like? What's the response from you? Like, that is that the stick or that's what's he saying? The stick that breaks camel back.
So I'm a realist. He's not getting fired, so I can't waste my time on that. He's not getting fired. Even if we lose every single game for this season, he's not getting fired. If we jump top 4, he's not getting fired. I'm telling you, he's not getting fired. He's gonna say they had a lot of injuries, which is true. He's gonna say you didn't back me in the January transfer window to get a striker, which is probably gonna be true. He wanted to say, I think here's the problem that he has, which is what Pep had also, right? They know who they want. And they're not going to get who they want, they're not going to buy them. So he probably wanted Sesko. They tried to get Sesko. They couldn't get Sesko. He's like, you know what? I'm not getting anybody because nobody's good enough. They didn't want Osimhen. They didn't want some of those players. That's part of the problem.
Fair enough.
So I think he's not getting fired.
Is it the case that the best of the best players don't want to go to Arsenal?
No. Artists that people want to come to us. I don't think that's it. First of all, there are a number of things, right? Does the team that I want to play from, do they want to sell? A lot of times it's no, and their fans want to sell. Do they need the money? Is it overvalued or appropriately valued? Because people use analytics and all sort of methods to figure out the valuation. Then, can I afford them? It's another question. Both the wages, the agent's money, and the transfer fee, right? And then do they fit my style of play? Because my style of play supersedes everything. So there are a lot of variables and factors that one think about before making a decision about acquiring a player. It's both on the player side and on your side. And two don't like we wanted Vlahovic 2 years ago, and he wanted to go to Juventus, and he went to Juventus. We want Sesko, he didn't want to leave because I think he's still young in his career. We thought about Isak 2 years ago before we went to Newcastle. We didn't pull the trigger. We bought Havertz instead. Let me repeat that, people. We bought Havertz instead of Isak because Havertz cost more money than Isak. I think Isak was about what, 61 mil? Havertz about 65 mil. It's crazy. It's crazy. But Isak was injured when he was in Spain. He's injured again, but half of Isak is better than the whole Havertz. Yeah.
In terms of Isak, no. I remember a couple years ago, right? I was on Discord in a United fan group, and there was this guy from England, and this was when Isak was at Dortmund. He wasn't playing much games, and he was always raving about Isak, right? And then when he moved to Sociedad, he started to score, him and Isak up there, or whatever the case is. But even at that time when he was leaving, it wasn't like a player that you would look at, right? Unless you're like a scout. But in terms of from a fan perspective, I don't think many fans would have looked at Isak and was like, you know what, he could have been someone for Arsenal. However, I think now, looking at him, you can actually say that he's someone that can fit Arsenal. You know what I'm saying?
Well, no, Isak was always talented, even at Dortmund. His problem has always been his injury problem, right? He was a little bit frail. He's got to put on a little more weight now, but he's still skinny, tall. But what I like about him is so versatile. Like when he played against us, he was going deep to pick the ball up. He was running off the defenders. He's good in the air. He's left foot, right foot. He can shoot from outside the box. He's instinctive. He can run the channels. He can beat a man. Like Havertz can't do any of those things.
And let me tell you, thank you. The best piece of play I've seen from Isak, and I'll leave now, the best piece of play I've seen from Isak was an assist against Everton down at Goodison Park. I don't know if you remember that when he went to the byline, the man dribbled about 4 or 5 people. Byline, cut couple defender, pass the ball, them score. I remember him destroying Spurs. I mean, he's just a wonderful player.
No, he's injury prone, right? It's a fact. He's injury prone, and when you're buying an asset, you want the asset to be serviceable. The best ability is availability a lot of times. And we had a report 2 years ago. You're not available, you can't play, you can't help me. But he's so good. I mean, if I get Isak for 20 games versus Havertz for 38 games, I'm taking Isak.
Yeah. But big up yourself.
Yeah, man. Thanks for the call. Appreciate it. Yeah. That was 433. Always thoughtful. Always have a good perspective. Vinci says, Arteta, if you believe in Isak, would have purchased him from Sociedad. I'm not convinced we are seriously trying to get him. Yeah, I think Arteta knows what he wants, what he likes. And what's funny about Arteta is this. You remember when Pep first had this false 9? He played Sterling there, everybody there, Jesus and everybody else. And then he realized, I can't win the Champions League with a false 9. I got to go get Haaland. I got to get somebody who's a proper center forward after I had Aguero. And I'm not sure why Arteta wouldn't have taken a page out of Pep's book and say, you know what? We have to get a proper center forward. A center forward is the most important position in football, period. It's not debatable. Your center forward, because goal is the hardest thing to score in football. Because the 11 players are trying to defend against you scoring. It's the hardest thing to do in football. And yet, we don't go and get a center forward. We buy defender after defender after defender. How many center forwards he bought since he's been there? Apart from Jesus, who's not a true center forward. He's bought none. Right? And the one he had in Nketiah, who I don't think was at the right quality, he got rid of him and sold him to Crystal Palace. And then he wanted to play a Jesus Havertz. Havertz is not... I had a long discussion with somebody about Havertz today. Here's my view on Havertz. He's a utility player. Great at nothing. Decent at most things. Hold up the ball decently. Decent passer. Put in a shift in his own language style. Good in the air. Can he beat a man? No. Can he score dynamic? Can he be dynamic and go past somebody? Can he run the challenge really good? No. Is he quick? No. Is he a good finisher? No. Can he score from outside the box? No. I mean, there's so many no's for a striker, given the attributes you need. Why am I going to play him up front? Is he a good number 8? Yeah, he's decent. He's comfortable on the ball. He doesn't do anything really terrible, but he's a decent 8. And I heard Robbie from Arsenal Fan TV saying he's a second striker. Hey, Robbie, what the hell is that? What do you mean a second striker? What? He's on the bench, a second striker? Robbie talking that garbage about he's a second striker. Like, what are you talking about, Robbie? What's second striker in football today? The only team I see playing with two strikers is probably, I don't think of anybody in the Premier League. Maybe Southampton tried them, see where they are. Inter probably plays two strikers, or hitters, they've done so. How many teams play two strikers? Does Real Madrid play two strikers? Does Barcelona play two strikers? Does Arsenal? Does Man City? Does Liverpool? What the hell is two strikers? Liverpool don't even play with a 10 nowadays. Arsenal have a 10, which is part of Arsenal's problem, I think. People don't realize that. We play Odegaard in the 10. No, he plays 9.5 because he plays on the right side of the field. He don't even go up to the left side. So he's not a true 10. Right? We have a hybrid construct to me, which is getting dated and old, and people are knowing how to play against it. So I don't know what a second striker is, people. I'm confused. Women say they could win the CL without a striker. He sent Fernandinho on a fair with. Yes, Woodman, you're right. He had Fernandinho playing right back against Vinicius Jr., which God knows was. That's what Pep does sometimes. He does this thing that you just when you're a genius, you do things which are not genius-like. Yes, but he didn't start at right back, did he? I think he went there when something happened, and Vinicius Jr. skinned him, and that was the end of it. Vinicius said Madrid played at Atalanta with two up front. Who plays up front? The way they play now is they have Bellingham in the 10, however here he wants to play. They play Rodrigo on the right, Vinicius Jr. on the left, and Mbappe up front. I don't know why they don't switch Mbappe sometimes with Rodrigo or something, because Mbappe is lost at center forward. He's not used to playing there. Brentford played two up front, Wissa and Mbeumo. No, Mbeumo plays on the right. Don't tell people that stuff. Don't say that. And Mbeumo floats, but he plays on the right. Wissa plays in the middle. Ain't nobody playing no two up front. No, tell me, you guys will mention every single team. And Mbeumo is playing on the right, people. He ain't playing no up front. He's playing on the right. Now he stays up. Vinicius Jr. is playing on the left. He's not playing up front. If you want to call up front wingers up front, then that's a different story. But he's not playing two center forwards. Inter plays two center forwards. They used to play Martino and was it skip from Chelsea name? Escaping me now. Inter now plays two forwards, right? And effectively two. But then you have to have working midfielders. Yesterday, Real Madrid was playing like two up front because Bellingham was playing. That's why they were getting killed yesterday. You go watch the Barcelona game. Barcelona is brilliant at keeping the ball. They played Bellingham too high. The middle was open. Tchouaméni couldn't cover, and whatever is playing to cover in the middle, and they were wide open in the middle. And Barcelona just had a field day. Brentford did trade. Yes, they would play when they played Tony and Wissa. Yes, but they haven't done it since Tony left, as far as I know anyway, when I see them play. Yeah, when Inter plays two up front. Inter likes doing that. Football Guru saying, depends on your formation. Liverpool did need a high scoring center forward with Sane and Salah. Sane didn't play for Liverpool. Sane played for Man City. Sane didn't play for Liverpool. He played for Man City. You had Salah, Firmino, and then Mane. Mane played, you talk about Mane. Okay, Mane didn't play up front. Mane played on the left. Come on, people. What Liverpool doesn't do is use a 10. Even today, they don't use a 10. Liverpool used three across. When they had Henderson and Wijnaldum, and who was the other midfielder? They played three across. So they played 4-3-3 consistently, and each of the midfield have a chance to go forward. Like Gravenberg now today go forward. McAllister go forward. Szoboszlai go forward. So they don't, even though Gravenberg is the CDM, he has a chance to roam, and then McAllister will cover, right? They rotate their midfielders. City does that too with De Bruyne, with Rodri plays the CDM, but De Bruyne doesn't really play a 10, right? So Silva doesn't play a 10, so it's a different concept. We play a true 10 in Odegaard, except he doesn't play a true 10. He plays on the right side of the 10 plays across like a Madison does. He doesn't do that, which to me then hurt Martinelli because he doesn't get enough support on the left. Yeah, I realize you're saying Mane, Football Guru. No, Mane played left. Mane left, Salah right, devastating combination. Firmino plays like he was a false 9 because both Mane and Salah would then go up front a lot of times, and Firmino would go deep, get the ball, and be the facilitator. Yeah. You can say it's three across, same as we have Odegaard pushing forward on the right when we have the ball. Yeah, but Odegaard doesn't play right across the front line like he normally have in a 10. He plays on the right side. In fact, he plays in the corner, it seems like, for Christ's sake. Once in a while, he goes deep, pick it up, and try to, when he's not getting enough ball. But it's a really interesting formation and the way we operate. we're right side heavy, and it's almost a slant, right? Because we invert the left back to then provide support over there. We don't invert the right back except when Partey plays, and even then it doesn't look right. Partey is not a right back. So yeah. I'm not staying long, people. I'm gonna leave early tonight. I'm gonna finish the show tomorrow. I'm back, as I mentioned before, with the Avery Campbell, who's the marketing director for the JFF. She'll be here tomorrow. Should be a good conversation. It's 7 p.m. time, so please join me. Should be a really good conversation. I think she was on, as someone mentioned, on Sportsmax talking about her role. She just joined, so the JFF making strides. The football guru and Paul Edwards should be happy. Wednesday, I'm doing watch along, and I'm doing a show on my Balance View channel about the Trump situation with Jamaica. And then Thursday, football guru won't love this. Now, Paul Edwards, it's JFF Day. Hello. Thursday's JFF Day. Will be an interesting show, people. I have some more information about some things, but I'm gonna give some. I'm not gonna just. You know what? I'm on Thursday. You can see what I'm talking about. I don't just come here to beat. I give credit when it's due, but beating gotta happen. You know, beating. If you don't do well inside, you're gonna get flowers when you do well, and you know you're gonna get when you don't do well. That's a life steer. It's a life steer, people. It has to be that way. Okay. Yeah. Odegaard situation. I don't know. Being on the right in that corner with Saka, now with Sterling. I said this before I go. Yesterday with Sterling, people, here's what I thought was interesting. I thought Timber coming way up yesterday and Odegaard were cramping Sterling style. I thought they were a problem versus a solution. And then you have Havertz drifting over. That's a problem. Sterling needs room to maneuver, to go run at the defender. When you go clog up the space, then you bring more defenders over. It makes it more difficult. If Odegaard goes more to the middle, Timber stays back, then the defense have to adapt to where the people are on the field. If all my players are congregating in one place, I got to bring defenders over. There's less room to maneuver. Create more width, which is how you bring a play wide. Isolate him on the defender. He can go by him 8 out of 10 times. What's football guru saying? Waste some money. What are the other previous announced marketing people doing? I think 8 football guru criticizing the JFF. If people, football guru, you okay? If you stop drink, football guru, drink. Football guru, what are you drinking? You're drinking? You all right? I have never heard you criticize the JFF ever. Now, they must know why they're getting this person to come in. I think 876 does marketing, but they don't work for the JFF. Now, here's the thing, football guru. When you have an organization, every department should have somebody who lives in that department. He's a marketing manager, right? You may have an outside firm to help you, but you have to have somebody who has helped to inform the strategy, who's thinking about the vision, who's challenging and being skeptical about what the parties you're working with are doing, the consultants are doing. You provide direction for them. They don't provide direction for you. Dr. Dan says, Arteta will not change. He's been doing this since Odegaard. Yeah, he has. And if he don't change, if we don't win any trophies this year, and next year we don't win a trophy, the fans are going to fire him. Cronkies won't fire him. Fans going to fire him. No doubt in my mind, fans going to fire him. You know, when the fans in England fire managers. Sometimes owners don't want to fire them. The fans make it so toxic. The fans fire Wenger, you know. You think the Crankies fire Wenger? The fans fire Wenger. It was toxic. Wenger couldn't even leave his car. And especially with AFTV, when they were just in their sort of branching out and trying to get viewership, and people go on their program and they were getting, that's how they grew, you know. They grew from negativity. They didn't grow from positivity. Now it's very well balanced, and Robbie's trying to be more of an executive while they operate. But they grew from negativity. That's how Troops and all of them made their name. They were bashing, destroying. At some point, man just had to go. You think I start them, football guru? You think you think I start them, football guru? No, I don't start. I stalk them. Wow. That is interesting. I'm not stalking them. I don't talk about the JFF that much like I used to. But it's JFF. I talked with them last week. It was a good conversation. Well, it was a partially good conversation. It's JFF Day Thursday. Here's the thing, fun people. I tell you people this. There are some topics people lean into, and they reach out to you, and they give you information. You're like, whoa. No. JFF generate views. No doubt about that, football guru. They generate views, especially if you're negative. I'm not trying to be negative, actually. But there's some topics I'm very passionate about, Football Guru, and they have to be called out. You may not agree with me, but it is what it is. But no, Thursday is JFF Day, people. No, come JFF Day. Should be hot. I'm sure people in JFF will join too. It's going to be a good show. I'm very looking forward to JFF Day Thursday. I have some research to do tomorrow and Wednesday for JFF Day and Thursday, but it should even be as good as or better than the last one. Even though it's not a beat speed show, so it's different. But I'll say this, which is Wednesday should be good with my Balance View channel, talking about from the man in China to Jamaica, and then doing the watch along with Tottenham, which should be a very hot game. And then tomorrow should be a very good show with Avery Campbell. So come join me, people. I'll say this for everyone. Before the games, Arsenal will be fine. They're like fine wine. Huh? We'll see if they're going to be fine. We have no center forward. Let's see how that work out. Kai Havertz can be. Hey, me and before the game, they'll have conversations about Havertz. He's very agnostic, is what I would put it when it comes to that. He won't commit. It's like OJ Simpson. Fit, I won't. If it doesn't fit, you have to acquit. That's how he is. Bless up documentary. He's not committing. He's not saying anything. He's not saying he's good, he's bad. He's just on the fence. And I'm going to try to nudge him off the fence. He's got to say, get rid of Havertz, or he's on Havertz's side. But he's on that fence, people. Like he's Simone Biles doing the balance beam. We got to nudge him off the balance beam. But anyway, let me close up by saying, because I got to watch the Chiefs play and my Knicks play. But people, please join me tomorrow night. Join me tomorrow night. It should be a very good show. Join me Wednesday, and boy, come Thursday. Football Guru, come with your pencil sharp now, your pen sharp now, your mouth sharp, Football Guru. Okay, you criticize me Thursday. Bad. But here's what I want to do, Football Guru, before I go. Come on, you may have talked to you and Paul Edwards. When we say good things, so if you give me flowers, right? But when I'm suggesting or making comments about developmental needs, you should also be thinking about, is he right? Don't just come negative like you normally do. Is he right? Is there a way for improvement? I may deliver it in a very not a soft tone, with some gusto, because it needs to be delivered gusto, because there's some topics which I'm passionate about. But I want you to try to be a Football Guru for once in your life, unbiased, because I know it's hard for you. It's painful. Try to be unbiased. All right? All right, everyone. Have a good night. Thanks for being here. Join me 7 p.m. tomorrow. And peace out. Thank you. Appreciate you. Good night. Frankie Life is the best to be now. For the best sports talk, and it's free, yo. Frankie Life will be your guiding light by keeping you informed both day and night. Frankie Life, tell them. Frankie Life, heed them. Frankie Life, want them. Cranky Live. From the courts to the field, we'll never lose, because Cranky has the hottest news. With expert analysis, we break it down. Our in-depth coverage is best in town. Cranky Live, tell them. Cranky Live, heed them. Cranky Live, want them. Cranky Live. Cranky Live, where the sports is spicy and where we keep the discussion lively. Cranky Live, get to know the name, because Cranky analysis is never lame. Cranky Live, give me my Cranky Live. I want my Cranky Live. Must have my Cranky Live. Whether it's football or track and field, you know Cranky is at the wheel. So join the journey through victory and defeat, and subscribe and don't miss a beat of Cranky Live. Tell them, Cranky Live. Heed them, Cranky Live. Want them, Cranky Live. If you're from England or USA, from Kingston or Bombay, from Kenya or Canada, Lagos or Havana, visit Cranky Live. Tune into Cranky Live. Like up Cranky Live. Subscribe to Cranky Live. Cranky Live Coming to you on weekdays, cranky life sometimes on Sundays. Pull up a chair and take a seat because cranky will always bring the heat. Cranky life, me say fi tell them cranky life. Me say fi heed them cranky life. On them, cranky life. Cranky life will be around. Cranky life is the best in town. Me say fi heed them, me say fi want them. Me say fi heed them, want them, heed them, want them. Cranky life. Cranky life. Heed them, want them, heed them, want them. Cranky life. Cranky life. Heed them, want them, heed them, want them, heed them, want them. Cranky life. Cranky life. Cranky. Heed them, want them, heed them, want them. Heed, want, heed them.